Hello, podcast community. My name is Cam King, and this is Three Questions Podcast. As you know, Three Questions Podcast is designed to take on questions submitted from my community, my clients, the internet. Sometimes I'll chat GPT questions and do a lot of research so that I can answer things succinctly in about 5 minutes or less. Today with me, I have Renez, who I found on TikTok, of all places, and I loved her content. She is a spiritual guide, wellness coach, wants to talk about quantum mechanics, quantum physics, but I will let her introduce herself. Renez, how are you doing this evening?
Thank you so much for the intro. Doing very well. Thank you for having me here. It's always a pleasure to meet new people and just talk shop, as they say.
We just went over a little bit of your story, but why don't you talk about some of the things that you do? Because it's not just quantum mechanics, it's not just wellness and holistic approach. Give us the rundown.
Yeah, so I always like to say, as like a broad term, I love to hold people's hand through massive shifts within their life. And um, I always say, like, think of me as like someone you can look to for guidance and to kind of just get you to where you are to a place of where you want to be. And I have a lot of tools to navigate people through a journey. And so that's what I'm here for. That's what my mission here is for planet Earth. And I'm happy to serve.
Yeah, I see a lot of people who are creating businesses surrounded essentially based upon their own journey, their own trauma, their own experience, their own lessons. I myself with CK Collective, I was a hotshot advertising executive who made a big life transition after a breakup. And essentially I've become this, I really despise the word life coach, but I work with people on professional and personal issues that they're dealing with. And then I always give them tools and tactics, things that I've acquired over the years. And I've really become this, I guess, coach or mentor for who I needed when I was younger, which is awesome because now I get to help so many people on a daily basis, which is great. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to start a podcast as well, is to sort of take some of the smaller tidbits, get people on like yourself who have created similar businesses and to talk about their experience because we all have a profoundly different path through life and it's not always linear, as I've seen. Some of my clients are in their 50s and 60s, some are in their 20s, and I get to run the whole gamut of different things at different levels and help clients work through that. But tell us how you primarily work with people, what they're coming to you for.
Yeah. So there's a lot of my clients are in a phase of they come from a corporate background, and they are in a space of I'm I've done all the things, you know. I went to college, I got the degree. I'm in a job that pays really well, but I wake up and I'm just so miserable and I don't know how to shift out of this. And I know there's something more, you know. I listen to podcasts, I watch YouTube videos and I'm inspired and I can see that there is something just more greater than what is right now. And so they're looking for that. And they don't know what it is. They just know that it's something. Because they feel that that little spark within them. It's that curiosity of there's got to be something more to life than just this. And that's where I find most of my clients, because I relate so much to them. And I've been through that life. And I walked that path and I was able to get out of that path. So that's how my connection, how I relate to my clients.
How long have you been doing this kind of work as well? Because your content is awesome. I think it's very authentic. It's very hilarious. But how long have you been working on it? And what does that kind of process look like as well?
So I've been working in wellness probably for the last, I would say, 8 years. And then I started down my own spiritual journey and awakening about 13 years ago. Um, and yeah, I guess how does it look for me? As I mean, yeah, I started my spiritual awakening in corporate, which was not fun at all. Because I was quickly removed. And then I went back because it was the only thing that I knew. And I was probably, it felt like I was in a washing machine for a good 5 years, just tumbling, not knowing where to go, like not knowing there's a lifeline out there. So um, that was traumatic. Yeah, I launched myself out of that by diving deep. Like, who am I? What do I really love? What am I really good at? Um, and working on my the things that I ingest into my little universe, whether that's food, whether that's people that I surround myself with, the content that I read, the content that I watch, all of it makes such a difference when you start looking at what you consume. So I started getting really, just really honing in on like what is entering me, who, what, all of it. And once I started taking some serious inventory and I put strong boundaries into place, everything shifted. I mean, everything shifted. So, um, personally, that's how I got out of, my situation, and how I coach others, in the particular, and as in that kind of way as well.
It's awesome. Yeah, I think there's a massive, massive need for people who have gone through similar things to help others navigate through, right? Like kind of being the lighthouse scenario where it doesn't mean that we're above or below, but I always tell my clients, I'm right beside you. I'm still working on things too. Just because I'm mentoring you on these things doesn't mean that I've done it all. Doesn't mean that I'm perfect. But I hear you on the boundaries thing because that is one of the top things I teach my clients. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. There should be a class in middle school or high school or college about setting boundaries, holding boundaries, because life teaches you, it gives you so many opportunities to set them. And eventually you wake up and you're like, oh my God, I'm not setting boundaries. And it does change everything, like you said. So that's wonderful. This evening, we're going to get into three questions. Are you ready to sort of jump into quantum mechanics?
Sure. Yep.
So I have heard this word a lot. I've read a lot of books that discuss it. Quantum Healing by Deepak Chopra is an awesome book as well. Uh, However, when it comes to the layman's terms of what quantum mechanics is, I would love to hear your take on what it is, how it applies, and how people can apply that as well.
Yeah, so it's definitely not a sexy word, because people get very confused. I think the first word quantum, they just like check out, because it does get entangled, and that's what it is. It's like science meeting spirituality, and but when I think about it, mechanics is basically just, let's say, the physics of manifestation. And even manifestation is a word I know that gets thrown around so much, but this goes back to like the nuts and bolts of how this works. Think of it behind the scenes. And you don't really have to know how it works behind the scenes. That's not for everyone to need to know to figure out. You just know that it happens. And so I would say, like, the spiritual kind of takeaway would be like focusing on your thoughts, your emotions, and infinite possibilities of reality. And that's all that you need to really know about quantum mechanics, because if you want to go really deep, you can. I'm not, I try not to go too deep, but you can get into the atoms, the particles, the molecules of how, like attracts like, and that goes super deep. But yeah, I guess this is the yes, just like the easy version of quantum mechanics.
Yeah, I have a lot of clients who ask what manifesting is. And again, reading books that talk about quarks and leptons and the electron cloud and how different like you can go so, so deep. We won't do that for this sake of the podcast, but I know I can see your brain going there. It's essentially the way I explain it in the simplest form is when I can teach a client heart-brain synchronicity to align their brain and their heart, and then to feel a future recorded memory, and then, touch the couch of their future home that they want to live in, see their partner, smell what's going on in the kitchen, see what color the rug is, how many car garage is it, what kind of cars are in there, and then having them touch the leather, all these things. If I can teach them how to feel the future recorded memory, we can reverse engineer the steps needed to get there. Because a lot of people,
Hmm.
it's the bird box scenario where they're blindfolded and just trying to make the next right decision, right, without falling into whatever. And I think a lot of people, I'm sure maybe your clients are seeking for that perspective shift. What else is out there? How do I feel something other than what I'm feeling? And that's probably a challenging process for people, especially in the tech world, would you say?
Absolutely. I think, yeah, the education, the schooling, the multiple years upon years of schooling that you go through really indoctrinates you to not rely on those gifts that lie within and to not go deeper. So it's really unfolding a whole new belief system, and that scares the shit out of people. So,
Absolutely. I 110% concur. So we'll hop into question number two because you said this earlier. And a lot of people are learning about Joe Dispenza. A lot of people read his books, do his meditations. And I think everyone has a different take on what the quantum field is. You mentioned that earlier. How would you define and explain the quantum field?
well, let's say um, the quantum field is it's the invisible. I always like to think of it as like the gap between what you desire and like how it gets to you. It's infinite. It's limitless potential. It's oh, you know what it reminds me of is that Bradley Cooper movie where he takes the pill and he becomes limitless. Maybe it's called Limitless. But it's like when he gets to that point of everything is available for him to download, to understand, to just to ingest, that's like, and he's accessing that stuff from somewhere, and like that's the quantum field. That's where he's going to get all the information. um and so yeah, it's that infinite field of just possibilities. Um and when I think about this, it's the quantum field, and it goes, it ties very closely with creating a life that you desire through manifesting, right? And so it's like, well, you put your order in, and you don't worry about how, because the quantum field will take care of that for you. But you have to align, you have to align your desire, your emotions with that so that the quantum field could do their job, basically. Um, and so yeah, I suppose maybe that is the easiest way to answer that question.
I absolutely adore the Limitless analogy. That's one of my favorite movies. But excuse me while my dog decides to chew on her bone right now as soon as I start talking. But you mentioned also, right, working on the body, mind, and soul. I think part of that is understanding that there is a quantum field, understanding that there is a higher level of divinity for us, available to us. But how does someone in the here and now, in the day to day, working their 8 to 4, or 8 to 5, or 8 to 8, even 5 days a week, and then they have kids and the family, or they're going through a divorce, how does someone in that position, quote unquote, work on their body, mind, and soul? How does someone do this consistently? How much time does it take? What sort of things do they have to do?
Yeah, so it's really simple, honestly. And this doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to um, look as though it's overwhelming. It can be 10 minutes out of your day to focus on something different. So, um, and on one of these three things are all are pick, I guess you can pick and choose what you can focus on if you don't have that much time, but you can do one a day, or you could choose to do three different exercises a day that will help. And I recommend doing all three. But it could be so simple as, if you're going to focus on the body and, you want to make changes that are going to help you be more in balance, then let's just start with your water. Like this is so simple where you're not drinking tap water. Like it's time to level up and like get yourself some spring water. Um, and that's like a major, major thing. But it's simple because water is like we're made up of water. We need this to survive, and like it's so basic, but yet I feel like we just ignore it, and it's one of the easiest things to check off the list. Um, and so you know, um, so that's body. Mind, we're talking like let's create small shifts in our mind, and it could be one affirmation a day that is, so simple on just gratitude. You know, five things you're grateful for. It takes less than 10 seconds, honestly. Like it's so easy. And so I always go back to um simple things like meditation, breath work. And those you can knock those out in less than 5 minutes. You can do 5 minutes and it's still going to give you benefits. So um tackling, yeah, at least I mean, we're talking less than an hour a day, right? Of something of things that you can do to shift your entire life, honestly. So when I work with clients, it's like, no, let's start really small because I get that you're really busy. I know you're really busy. You could do this stuff on your commute in. You can knock all of this out like so easily, but it's just these tweaks. They're just tweaks until you can get into the until you can get into it and start making it and realizing and seeing the changes. So people will come back and do things over and over again and make it a habit once they actually start seeing the result, and they're like, wow, that's amazing. Okay, I believe you. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's do this then.
I completely agree. There's an app called Think Up that I give to all my clients, and I say you have to download this app. And everyone listens to affirmations. We talk about it. We will just go on Spotify or YouTube and listen to other people's voices about affirmations that we want for ourselves. But the really cool, genius thing about how I use Think Up is I get my clients to write their own affirmations, their own goals, their own things that they want to experience, the kind of partner, their boundaries or protocols or non-negotiables, all of the things that they want, including the things that they perceive as red flags or green flags. And I have them record their own affirmations in their own voice, but it's all future tense. Hey, dogs, chill out. Okay. They know how to open doors, so that's lucky for me. Two German Shepherds. But they will listen to their affirmations. I have them do it for 30 minutes a day, and then they hear it. I have them say it, so it goes back into their brain. So we're creating a triple effect. And I see within a matter of weeks that these subconscious programs that have been in their mind for decades at some point start to change. And I hear it in the way that they're telling me their stories. And I hear it in the way that they're setting boundaries. And they're like, I set a boundary and I'm really proud of myself. I've been using this app for 4 years, and I just last month hit three things that took me 4 years. But I created the affirmation 4 years ago. This month, I nailed three of them that were on that for 4 years. And I was like, I wasn't even surprised because I had heard myself say that it was done in a future tense. And I think it's the best way to empower someone's own subconscious reprogramming. You should share that with your clients or check it out yourself as well. But I that's one of my favorite ways to do this as well. It's like, how do you tell someone to work on their body, mind, and soul? They know they need to do it, but it's not necessarily tossing everything that they have been doing up to this point away. It's maybe stopping the roller coaster from going backwards first, and then getting them back to a starting position, and then slowly moving them forward in a different direction before we go full speed again. So that's the most challenging part I find about, coaching and mentoring is slowing that reverse process down because sometimes people are going backwards.
Yeah, I mean, we're human. Will take a step back, and we that happens, and it's really how you respond to that, and so I get knocked down, and yep, I'm like, okay, great, that didn't work. All right, let's try something different. Like it's not, it's really not that big of a deal. And that's what we really need to just be like, let's just recognize, like, we're really not that serious. Like, stop. Just stop.
And I think that
So,
was, yeah, that was so appealing about your content. I was like, this chick gets it. She gets it. So awesome. What's next for you in terms of your business, some of your goals this year and next couple of years?
yeah. So what's next is, well, I love working with clients. It's super fulfilling, and also I love to be of service. And so I'm just gonna I do have a coaching business. I work with people one on one. And I mean, beyond that, I'm looking to, just move into bigger audiences, beyond stages, serving in a bigger capacity so that I can reach more people and be able to just heal as many people as possible. Like that is the ultimate goal for me, is to help the healing within the masses. And I'm here for it. So that's the goal. That's the goal, to be doing a bit more traveling on stage and healing.
I 110% see that for you, and I know it'll happen. How can people reach out to you? How can people connect with you? Who are your ideal clients that if I'm like, hey, you got to talk to Renez. So who can I send your way?
Yeah, so you can find me at my website is consciousconsultings.com. You can find me on Instagram, Renez_rising. Same on TikTok, Renez_rising. And yeah, I suppose I want to hang out with you if if you are in a situation where you're just feeling like, damn it, I want to just do something more than what I'm doing, and I don't know how. I don't know the logical next step, but I know that I'm just meant for something more in this life, and I want to leave a legacy. Like I want to be known for something. I want to, I want to expand. I want to evolve. I want to grow, and I'm here for that. I'm absolutely here to serve those people. Um, and it's what I do. It's what I love. I know it's just what I was put here to do. So I am that person. If you're ready to take the next step, if you're ready, yep, I'm here.
I love that. I'll send you a link to our Discord community. So there's always people talking about different spirituality. I mean, I'm helping people. My primary thing that I love to do is I love to help people start businesses or get better with businesses. I love teaching that. It's my favorite thing. But there's a huge cross section of someone's personal life and someone's professional life. What you do personally
Mhm.
affects you professionally. What you do professionally affects you personally. And I always start there with clients. And then I try to help move them to a direction of pursuing financial freedom or building that business they've always thought of, or getting to the next level, that next plateau, which I really enjoy. But I'll send you a link to that because I know there's a lot of people that would love to talk with you, that you can connect with, that you can help to expand your audience. I'll include your links, your bio. Just send that to me after in a text or an email so I can put it in the podcast description. And I'll get this either up tonight or tomorrow. But do you have any last words for anyone listening out there?
Um, it's really just like, can we just have some fun? Like, let's get back to like having fun, honestly, and less serious, more fun, more magic, and that's it.
I couldn't agree with you more. So thank you so much for hopping on. I know taking up time for free, especially with another coach or mentor, like your time is important. So I'm very grateful for that and hope to have you on again, but let's continue to connect outside of this as well. So thank you all for
Cool.
listening, and we'll see you guys in the next one.